Hello everyone, welcome back. How are you? How's your week? I hope you're having a great one. My one has been great so far. It's been very productive, and I think it's because that last week I had a few days off, so I needed to kind of, have a break, get my energy levels back. And if you're Maltese, which I know that most of you are from Malta, I hope you had a day off, or maybe 2 days, maybe a long weekend. Some of you even have had a week off. Last week for Santa Maria week, because I know that it's typical that we kind of slow down a little bit over there and take some time to ourselves to go on holiday. I've seen a lot of photos from moms going on holidays with their kids. So I hope you've had a good break and you're ready to get productive, because back to school is around the corner. And I think that the topics that I'm discussing lately, which revolve around meal planning and batch cooking and freezing and getting prepped, align perfectly with the time of year that's basically going on right now, which is back to school, because we tend to get busier and we need to get prepared because kids are at school, we get homeworks, extracurricular activities, we start running around, more errands, we're busier. So if we can all pick up a few tips and make all of this a little bit easier, we can all breathe a little bit more and live a little bit slower as well. So the topic for today is how to meal plan in 30 minutes. Now, to some of you, this might be something which you're already doing. I do hope you pick up some tips along the way. Some of you might not even meal plan at all. And some of you, I've been there, I didn't use the meal plan. And then I'm sure that there's a good part of you as well who do meal plan or try to, but it takes way longer than 30 minutes. And I've been there. It used to take me more than an hour in the beginning as well. And there were also times when I started, got discouraged, and then stopped trying to meal plan. I've got no clue what to cook. Something comes up, I stop in the middle, I forget to meal plan. But anyway, I'm here today to help you get back on track or start doing it, and I'm going to teach you how to do it in 30 minutes. So my name is Nakita, and I run the Mama Manual blog and social media pages. And my aim is to help busy moms just like you empower themselves so that you can take control of your time and you can live the life that you truly want to live. So I'm going to say some hellos, and I'd like to get some thumbs up from you guys just to make sure that you're here and that you're watching. So I'd like to say hello to Alicia, to Maronia, to Mary, Doreen, and Terry. Hello, it's lovely to see you all. Can I just get a thumbs up to make sure that you can hear me and that you're following along? Super. So mamas, since we're talking meal planning today, I want to ask you if you meal plan consistently. And I'm going to talk a little bit about me. Now, there is this theory, and a lot of people think that meal planning is something that if you don't stick to religiously, you failed. And that is something that puts people off, unfortunately. So the reality is that, meal planning is great. It really simplifies your life. It helps out with the routine. It frees up a lot of time. But if you think that if you slip up, you failed, you might not even try to do it at all. So I know that the most successful meal planners are the ones who sometimes fail, let's call it fail, who sometimes don't meal plan, who sometimes meal plan a day late, who sometimes wing it, but they're back on it again, So this has happened, never mind, let's continue. And that's where I want you to be. Don't have this image of perfection, because no one's perfect and nobody's perfect and nothing is perfect. So whatever we do, sometimes unfortunately, or well, that's life. It doesn't go so well, it doesn't happen as well. We decide not to do things sometimes, which is perfectly fine. But as long as we realize that we're getting such a lot of benefits, and if it hasn't happened for a week, fine, let's just pick up and try again, that's fine. But don't think that meal planning is an image of perfection, because it's not. So if you've tried and you failed, and don't worry about it, because we've all been there, trust me, you can start to try and do it again. And today's live will be about meal planning in 30 minutes. So I'm going to make you realize that this task is simpler than you think, and hopefully, I'll have a lot of you moms trying to get back on it again. So, do you meal plan consistently? Do you meal plan at all? Have you given up because it's hard? Just let me know in the comments down here, and I'll get back to you later. So, in case you've just joined us, I just touched on the topic a little bit, which is how to meal plan in 30 minutes. I'm going to give you the process. It's going to be an easy live. It's just following the steps, step by step. I'll tell you how to meal plan in 30 minutes, and I'll also give you a few tips to make it simpler as well. So I hope you enjoy it. So shall we kick this off? Let's get started. So first of all, to meal plan, you need some quiet time. So that might be 5 minutes in the car because you're waiting for the kids to come out of school. It might be post bedtime, the kids are in bed and you have some time on your hands. It might look like a lunch break for you. It might look like you're in the queue somewhere and you're waiting. But whatever you're doing, you need a little bit of time to concentrate. So what I wouldn't do is I wouldn't suggest that you try and meal plan when the kids, for example, are running around the house, tagging on your leg, trying to get your attention. Because for sure, I mean, if it was me, what I would end up doing is closing down my laptop or my phone and just continuing about my day. So try and find some quiet time, whatever it looks like for you. Quiet time doesn't specifically mean that you need to be on your own somewhere, but it means that you have a snippet of time here and there to just think about what you're going to cook. So the second thing you need to do is that you need to look at your calendar, because when you're meal planning, it's not just about listing Monday to Sunday and choosing your dinners or lunches or snacks or meals, whatever. It means that you are assigning specific dinners to specific days. For example, let's say you're home at 8 p.m. today. You're home late because you're working late, you've got errands. I wouldn't suggest opting for a meal that needs a lot of preparation, because in all likelihood you'll get home, you're tired, you won't feel like cooking up whatever recipe you had in mind, and you'll either feel very frustrated and stressed out to do it and eat at 11 p.m, or else you just huff and puff, open the fridge and resort to whatever is available, which is usually something which you didn't want to eat in the first place. So always take your calendar, look at your schedule, see what it's like, look at what the kids are up to, look at who's home to help maybe as well, and assign dinners according to what your schedule is looking like. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is to access my 100 recipes resource. Now, if you've used it, and I know that a lot of you are, because I'm getting such a lot of tags on Instagram and stories of dishes which you lovely mamas have cooked up. So if you've used it, you know how easy it is to use. You can select the type of meal that you want. So you can choose if you're looking for a dinner, for a lunch, for a snack. And then you can decide what you'd like to plan for the following week. So the plus point of that sheet is that I have spent a good number of hours handpicking the recipes. So all of the recipes that you will find in there are relatively easy and relatively healthy, and don't contain a lot of ingredients, and they are pretty much easy to cook as well. So you shouldn't find anything which is too complicated on there. So instead of wasting a lot of time looking on the internet only to open a recipe and find out that it's got, oh my goodness, 25 ingredients, 22 steps, it's complicated, I can't find this ingredient, you can access the list and you can pick your recipes from there. There's 100, so there's plenty. You don't need to eat different foods, as in, we don't repeat too much. A lot of people are under the impression maybe that because I batch cook, we eat a lot of the same foods. I mean, what we do is, yes, I do batch cook and we do repeat some favorites, but I wouldn't eat the same thing, for example, every week or twice a week usually. So I will space out my meals, but 100 recipes is for sure enough to get you by until you get the hang of this meal planning process at least. So if you haven't accessed the 100 recipes, you can go to this link on my website. It's themamamanual.com/100 recipes, and then you'll need to enter your details and you'll get the instructions to download this resource on the next page. Now, just a little bit of clarification. If you're already subscribed to the blog, you still need to enter your details. It doesn't mean that you'll get any additional emails from me. However, you'll need to enter your details to go to the instructions page, and then you'll get access to this 100 recipes. I urge you to make a copy of it and make it your own. So feel free to add your own links, your own recipes, your own notes. Make it your own, and when you sit down to meal plan, instead of looking all over the internet, just use the sheet. It's much quicker. So next, I would advise that you keep tabs on family favorites. I know that sometimes, especially for those of us with picky eaters, and I would say that's about 80% of us at least, it's hard to meal plan because you put all this energy into meal planning and into batch cooking, and you're so happy you've made this most wonderful dinner. You put it on the table, everyone's around the table, you're happy to spend time with your family, and as soon as you put the plate on the table, you get what's this, mom? And that makes me not want to cook again, let alone meal plan, batch cook, freeze. So what I like to do is I like to stay on top of things. I like to keep tabs on the dishes that my family loves, or let's be realistic, keep tabs on the dishes that don't get a lot of complaints because kids are what they are. And usually there are very few dishes that get greeted with a warm smile. So any dishes that don't get too many complaints are a win in my department. If you can try and remember or make note of these dishes somewhere, even on a pad of paper or on the same sheet, the 100 recipes sheet, it's easy to meal plan because you know that at least out of those 7 days, maybe you're eating out one time, maybe you're fishing stuff out of the freezer another 2 times, and maybe you can choose another 2 family favorites. So your kids are happy at the dinner table when dinner is being served, and of course it's faster to meal plan because you know what dishes are the favorite ones. Now I'm sure that there are quite a bit of them, but of course we tend to forget and we tend to try and get a little bit too creative as well. So ask your family what they are, keep tabs, and cook them. And don't feel guilty if you need to cook the same dish twice in a month. I know that a lot of you try so hard that you think that you need this huge amount of variety. When in real fact, I would rather repeat the same dish 4 times in a month, once a week, or 3 times in a month, be greeted with a smile, have simple recipes that everyone loves, and the food is being eaten, and it's a no-brainer, low stress. So think about the results that you want to get. Think about where you want to get to. Do you want to be super creative and end up with the most thrilling dishes? Or do you want consistency? Do you want simple dishes which everyone likes and everyone eats? Just think about it. So next you'll need to assign the dishes that you've chosen to the day. So I already mentioned that you should try and not leave any complicated dishes for the days when you're really busy. So I would suggest that when you assign the dishes to the particular dates, you take note somewhere. What I like to do is I like to take note on our calendar, and the calendar that I like to use is Google Calendar, but feel free if you use a paper calendar or diary, of course, just to note the meal that you're eating on the particular days. Now, a nice tip that I have for you as well is that if your kids can read, it's nice to have a little calendar maybe stuck to the fridge or on the family notice board somewhere so that the kids know what's for dinner. Because first of all, if your kids don't like surprises, they're not greeted with any surprises. They know exactly what's going to be served for dinner. And it also helps because it keeps you accountable as well. Because if you put that calendar on the fridge with the foods that you're going to eat and that you're going to cook, it kind of makes you accountable. For me, what makes me accountable is the email that I send you every week. So that really helps me because I know that you're expecting it. I know that it's so helpful for you and it needs to be done. So ever since I have started to send out my meal plan, I've meal planned consistently, as a matter of fact. There have been some days which you've seen. I mean, I'm completely realistic and I'm very genuine. So if there's a day that I can't for the life of me think about what I want to cook, I have left a few empty days, yes, and said, listen, I'll wing it, we'll see, because I don't feel like thinking about it, and hopefully we might go out or get takeout on the day. But it's great if you can put up a calendar somewhere and just write your meals, because yes, it will help you stay accountable. So yes, the email that I mentioned, which all of my subscribers get, so shout out to you guys who receive my weekly emails and open them up every week. That will also help you meal plan, because if you open up my email and there's my weekly meal plan on there, you can choose the dishes that you like, and just copy them to your meal plan, or it can even inspire you. For example, let's say I'm making, I don't know, a vegetable-based soup. That might make you, inspire you to cook a soup, for example, or maybe I am making salmon patties and you might think, oh yes, I haven't made patties for a while. Let's make chicken ones because my kids prefer chicken. So you don't need to copy it word for word or menu for menu, because of course I know that a lot of us have different tastes, different requirements, but it will help you to meal plan, because I'm sure you can pick up a little something here and there from my meal plan. So you can use that as well. I'm just going to say hello to some of you. Hi Giselle, so lovely to see you. Hello Janice. Hi Laura. Hello Lisa and Yvette. And Martina's asking about how she can access the 100 recipes resource. I guess you got that, Martina, because I did explain how you can access it. So if you haven't, just leave a comment down here and I will leave you the link, which is actually inside of the description underneath this video as well. So you can get the link over there. Hi Cherise. Hi Maria. Hi Lara. And Lara says that she meals plan every month for the whole month. Best thing ever. I can completely understand, and it's fantastic that you do it every month. It just takes away all that I don't know what to cook, which is so stressful. Hi Marisabel, hi Claire, and Trudy says finally managed just in time. Yay, perfect. I hope you can manage to stay till the end, but if not, remember there's the recording. And Willie is also here, and Terry and Annie and Natalie and Christina. Oh my goodness, I love seeing your names pop up. And hello to Shasha as well. I love seeing a lot of you actually tune in every week. I do notice, and it's so fun to see you come here and to see you engage and to see you say hello. And I especially love it when you start asking questions and we start helping each other out. So that's something which I really enjoy. But that's the power of live, although the recordings are nice to watch as well. So I have given you the steps to meal plan in 30 minutes. I'm just going to go through them again quickly just to make sure that you've got them, and if you've just joined us, I'll just give you a little bit of a recap. I do suggest that you watch the recording, however, because I've been into quite a bit of detail. So let's just go through the notes one by one, which are here. I'm just going to make sure I don't skip any steps. So first I suggested that you find some quiet time or you allocate some time to do it as well. There's another thing which I didn't mention. It might be in my tips that I'm going to mention now, but I'm going to say it because I just remembered it. I mentioned quiet time, but what you can do as well, and I find that this works, you know how sometimes you get inspired at random times throughout the day, or you're speaking to someone and they mention this lovely dish that they've cooked, or you're watching TV and you've seen something, or you're at a restaurant and you just like what's on the menu. When you think of a recipe that you'd like to cook, just take the recipe, open up your calendar and assign that recipe to next week. Whatever day, just put it on there. So when you sit down to meal plan, you remember that you wanted to cook that dish, and at least it's there, it's noted, and you can just move it around to whichever day you wanted to cook that dish. But that's one less meal off your plate. So do it if you get the opportunity to. So first you need to find some time to meal plan. I don't suggest you do it when the kids are running around and they're trying to get your attention. Next you need to open up your calendar, because you need to meal plan according to what's going on that day. And then you can open up my 100 recipes resource. There's 100 recipes over there which have been handpicked for you. So you can pick and choose from over there. And you can also open up my emails. If you're subscribed, you can also open up my older emails as well. And you can just have a scroll through and maybe you get inspired. Keep tabs of your family's favorites so that you can access your little list. And it's much easier to meal plan because you know what dishes will make everyone happy. And then you need to start assigning the dishes to the days. So whip out your calendar and start putting down the particular recipes on the specific days when you're going to cook and eat the recipes. And next, I haven't mentioned the last point, you should get your shopping list sorted. Now, I'm a fan of digital shopping lists, and I mentioned this multiple times, but I'm just going to again, just in case you haven't been on my earlier lives. I find that when you use a digital shopping list, It's easier because, first of all, the one that I use, which is called Our Groceries, it updates in real time. So, for example, if my husband is at the supermarket or he's going to the supermarket and he logs on to the app, which is shared between the two of us, it's a feature for the app. Try it out. It's fantastic. It's called Our Groceries. He can see the ingredients or the stuff that I want him to buy being added in real time onto the list. And even when I'm home, I can just log on and see the things being crossed off, which means that he's at the supermarket and he's halfway through the shopping. And besides that, it's also fantastic because it's voice activated as well. So I can just say, "Hey Siri, add bread to the supermarket list," for example. So it's very quick. So I don't need to kind of open up my mobile and unlock it and, write whatever I need. And you cannot forget your list. It's not like a paper list, which you might forget at home, or you might be out. You might be doing errands and you have an hour to spare unexpectedly. So having a paper list is no good if you're out and about, but having a list on your mobile phone works fantastic. So I personally would suggest using a digital app for your groceries, and you should just open up the recipes and just trash it out. Just, list the stuff that you need to buy while you have a couple of minutes to spare to check what's in your pantry and in your cupboards and in your freezers. Just make sure you don't overbuy, and just prepare a shopping list as well. All of this shouldn't take you longer than 30 minutes. At least it takes me about 15 to 20 minutes for 1 week. So it takes me a bit longer sometimes. I mean, it's more 15 minutes, but sometimes when I'm not as motivated, it takes me about 20. But 30 minutes, you should do it in 30 minutes for 1 week. So that I can promise you that. So a few tips. Just 1 second. My friend keeps making fun of me for stopping to drink water, but trust me, when you're talking for 45 minutes non-stop, you need to drink. So a tip I have for you is to repeat your menus. Now, if you don't like repeating regularly, what you can do is you can just take a pad of paper and write 8 weeks menus if you like, and then you can just repeat over and over. So every 2 months, you start repeating the menus all over again, and that means that you don't really need to meal plan much. So what I'd do is I would change the meal plan for different seasons, because I don't, and I suppose a lot of you as well, I don't cook a lot of soups during summertime, and during winter time I don't eat a lot of salads. So that's kind of the switch. It's more salads in summer and more soups in winter. So I would jot down 8 weeks worth of meal plans and repeat them again, and then I would, or you can do 6 weeks or 4 weeks if you're fine with that as well. And then when winter comes, for example, and you're making the switch, you just start a new meal plan so that you can kind of switch up the menus according to what's in season, and according, of course, to the weather, because we tend to eat different foods in different weather and different seasons, of course. So another tip is to have themed nights. I have never been doing this actively, but I know, and I've read online that a lot of people do this. What I try to do, and usually I do it in winter, not as much in summer, but I should try to do it in summer as well with salads. In winter, I believe it's on Thursdays, it's soup. It's vegetable soup, so that I can get more veggies into our diet. But you can have, like I've heard of Taco Tuesdays or Mexican Mondays or Pizza Fridays and Fishy Fridays as well, sounds good. And that makes it easier because knowing that you're cooking one particular type of food on one day makes it easier to choose the recipe for the day. So themed nights can be fun, and it can make your meal planning easier as well. So another tip that I have for you is that when you're meal planning, you shouldn't be trying to look for new recipes online. And this is the number one stumbling block, I would think. And this is what I used to do myself. because I used to sit down, open up my laptop, and I'm in the mood to meal plan, open up my calendar, start thinking to myself, what do I feel like eating on Monday? I think I feel like eating fish. So I start thinking about what fish I'm going to cook. So I open up Google. I Google, for example, I don't know, fish dishes, not anything I particularly like. Decide to go to Pinterest. I find this beautiful, beautiful dish. Click on it. It's so complicated. You need to be a chef to cook it. So I end up looking for something else, and then I find something else I seem to like, but it's got an ingredient which I don't enjoy. So I'm looking for another recipe, and then, oh my goodness, all these ingredients, I cannot source them locally, and I'm back on it again. And before you know, it's taken me 15 minutes just to find one dish. And I look at my meal plan, I've got 1 day planned out of 7, and I've given up. So instead, what you should do is, meal planning is just meal planning. So you've got my 100 recipes resource, use it. Do not look for recipes. And whenever you feel like you need a little bit of variety, just say you're going to spend another 30 minutes on another day, or 15 minutes, or whatever, how much ever time you'd like, and focus on adding more recipes to your list, to your potential things that you might be cooking. But don't try and do them at the same time, because it will get overwhelming, you get frustrated, and you will stop doing it. So meal planning and looking for recipes, 2 completely separate things. So the next tip that I have for you is to ask your family about favorite dishes. Now, I've already mentioned asking your children, maybe your husband or your partner, if you're living with someone inside the house, what their favorite dishes are. But besides that, go a step further. Call up your mom, call up your grandma, call up your mother-in-law, and ask what the favorite dishes when you were younger, when your husband was younger, or what your kids like to eat at grandma's. Although I must admit, I've tried cooking what my mom, what my grandma, and what my mother-in-law cook, and my kids still don't eat it. So I don't know if this is you as well, but it's something I hear very commonly. Grandmas must have magical kitchen tools or something, because I'm always surprised at the foods that my children eat from their grandma, which they would never dream of eating from home. But you can still try, because I'm sure there are a couple of things which you might have forgotten about, maybe things you've loved as a kid, possibly even just really simple recipes that you can recreate and do yourself at home. So ask and take note if you forget, like me especially. This I already mentioned. I already said that if you get an idea for a meal, you should just jot it down in your calendar so it's there when you start meal planning. And I see that I have a bit of, there are a bit of questions over here and some hellos as well. So let's just get back onto the chat. And hello, Alison, and hello, Natalie. And Natalie says, I'm also confused about what is safe to freeze, etc. Well, Natalie, when it comes to freezing, and I do have a blog post actually, which is very helpful. I'm trying to remember the name. I will leave a comment with the link later, because I have a blog post which is perfect for you. Now, when it comes to freezing, rightly so, you put safe in inverted commas, because everything is safe to freeze. What happens is that some types of foods get damaged when we're talking about texture mostly. However, you can freeze anything. It won't harm you, so go ahead and experiment. But what I wouldn't suggest that you freeze are mostly boiled eggs. That's a big no-no. Fried foods, for example, if you've made, let's say, fried chicken or something with breadcrumbs, I wouldn't freeze that, because everything ends up soggy. What you can do is you can prepare patties, for example, and if you're going to add breadcrumbs, you can add them later and then fry them later if you're going to fry, but don't freeze fried foods. Risottos don't freeze well as well, and most of the things do freeze well. Don't freeze cooked fish as well. Fish cooks very quickly, and it just doesn't, the texture doesn't really cut it when you freeze it. But I will leave the link and you'll get all of the information soon. So Natalie, thank you for asking. And Alison says, I always plan, but due to my commitments and commuting with kids, I don't find the time to stick to my plans. So Alison, I'm not quite sure if you mean to say that you don't stick to your meal plan, that you meal plan, but you don't stick to your meal plan because your life is so packed. Or else, if you don't always manage to meal plan because you're so busy. So if it's the first option, if you meal plan, but then you don't manage to stick to your meal plan, first of all, it's perfectly okay, as long as you're fine with it. Now, there are some things that you can do to make it easier. So you might try to simplify things. So you might try to think up recipes which are simpler, because you might be trying to do too much. And if you can simplify, it will take a lot less time to cook some things. You might consider batch cooking if you haven't already, because even if you double one recipe a week, that's 4 days of not cooking a month, which is already a relief. So that's one less day of cooking a week. But there are ways to make it simpler, and I always believe, and I know because I have been there myself, that all this talk of meal planning and batch cooking and cooking quick dinners, which everyone loves, is it is something that is designed for people on the go and for busy people like you. So I'm sure that there are ways to tweak what you're doing right now to make it work better for you. But don't worry if it doesn't always happen, and if you fall and you fail, just pick yourself up where you left off and try again. If you want to reply and let me know exactly where you're struggling, or if you want to send me a message as well, I'd love to help you out. So hello to Maria Pia, and Martina says, thanks, just subscribe to your newsletters. I'm looking forward to this. Thanks a lot. It's my pleasure. I send out emails every Friday, so you can watch out for your first email coming at you on Friday, Marilyn. I hope you love it. And Alison says, would home-cooked stews keep well in the freezer? Yes, stews freeze really well. I have this recipe in the 100 recipes resource, so if you have it, just go over there and look it up. It is a beef stew with chunky carrots. It's called something like that. It's with guineas, and there's these really nice chunks of carrots. It cooks really well, and it freezes really well as well, and it is delicious, and it's got a lot of carrots, so there's so much goodness in there, and it's quite quick to cook as well. You can batch cook it, and then you can freeze it as well. So check it out. It's one of our favorites. Hello to Leanne, and Christina says, yes, I do themed nights. Helps meal plan for the month that way. Christina, I'd love for you to share what themed nights you do, and also maybe some particular recipes which you love. So if you can, I'd love it. I'd love to read what themed nights you organize for the family. And Christina agrees with me as well about the grandma thing. I mean, what kind of magic do they have? And Melanie says, how can I access the 100 recipes? So, quick one for those of you who haven't heard about the link. It's themamamanual.com/100 recipes. And it's also linked in the description right below where you're watching this video. And Alison says, grandma's always grandma. Tannanna hello manna. Yes, true. That Maltese saying is really spot on. And Natalie says, thank you. And hello to Charmaine and Kristen, Justine and Alexia and Christina. So that's it for today's live. If you've got any more questions, just leave them in the comments box. So whether you're watching live and there's something that you think about later on when you're trying to meal plan maybe, or later on throughout the day, just leave a comment. I will get back to you. And even if you're watching the recording, do leave your comments, your questions, your feedback, your suggestions right here in the comments below. So if you'd like to learn more about meal planning, batch cooking, freezing, and just cooking up all of these simple dishes and keeping everyone happy around the dinner table, and if you'd like not to just learn about it, but if you'd like to dive into something really fun that I have never done, I want you to watch out, and I want you to watch closely, because I'm preparing something which is really amazing and I'm so excited to share, and I will be sharing really soon. And what I'm planning for you is time sensitive. So it's only going to be on for a couple of days, and if you miss it, you're going to have to wait for another round. So if you want to take part in this experience, it's going to be an online experience where I will, it's going to be very interactive, let's put it that way. And we're going to be meal planning, batch cooking and freezing, and it is amazing, trust me. So if you don't want to miss it, I suggest that you watch out for my weekly emails, and you can also, there's a little setting on Facebook and on Instagram so you don't miss any of my posts. And if you'd like me to help you with that, just comment in the comments box and I'll send you some screenshots. When this thing that I'm organizing, I'm launching very soon, starts, it's just going to be on for a couple of days. So once it's gone, it's gone. So if you think that you're interested in doing this with me, make sure that you follow really closely. I'm excited for it to start and I can't wait, because it is going to be fun and you're going to learn so many things. So mamas, it's been a pleasure to be here with you again today. I look forward to next week's live. In the meantime, watch out for my email on Friday. Happy meal planning. And I hope that you manage to do it in 30 minutes flat. Take care. Goodbye for now.